Here's what's on your feed today. Several areas are hit by floods due to rains from the Habagat enhanced by Typhoon Inday, with one person reported dead. Vice President Sara Duterte's Chief of Staff Zulaika Lopez visits the Senate days before her expected appearance at the impeachment trial. Embattled Senator Rodante Marcoleta has been diagnosed with high cholesterol, mild pneumonia, and a spinal condition. The United States launches new strikes against Iran after alleged attacks on cargo ships near the Strait of Hormuz. And in southern China, an excavator is used to save stranded pigs from raging floodwaters. Good afternoon, I'm Denise Tan. Vice President Sara Duterte's Chief of Staff, Zulaika Lopez, visited the Senate earlier today. This came a day after the impeachment court subpoenaed her to appear at the trial next week. And for the details, we have mobile journalist Merimon Reyes. Merimon, what was the purpose of her visit?
Denise, according to Senate Secretary Ray Bantug, Attorney Zulaika Lopez went to the Senate earlier for a coordination meeting with Secretary Bantug himself as Secretary of the Senate and Attorney Zulaika Lopez as Chief of Staff of the Office of the Vice President, meaning they didn't speak nor discuss anything about the merits of the case, about the trial, but more on the administrative or housekeeping matters. That includes her questions if they could bring sa holding room nila a refrigerator, their own equipment, their own coffee maker, maybe set up their caterers, to which Secretary Bantug said in the affirmative. Yun nga lang din, yung ilan pa sa mga tinanong din is napag-usapan yung security arrangements just in case Vice President Sara Duterte herself decides to show up personally at any or in any of the upcoming trial days at the Senate. Ang sabi naman ni Secretary Bantug, their coordination meeting was an open doors meeting. Alongside him is the Office of the Sergeant at Arms plus the heads of the Protocols Office of the Senate. So they just coordinated what will happen just in case the VP shows up anytime soon. Denise.
Okay, Merimon, was she able to give a statement to the media? At nag-confirm ba siya whether or not she will be attending the impeachment trial next week?
Denise, walang sinabi si Sec Bantug. Basta raw kasi hindi napag-usapan ng kahit na ano that has to do with the case itself, with the trial itself. Puro lang daw housekeeping or administrative matters tulad ng nabanggit ko earlier. Pero while she kept mum for the entire time that we tried to get her comment and her reaction, ito lang ang sinabi niya bago siya umalis ng Senate premises. Prepare for Typhoon Inday. So it was short. There could be several interpretations. Ngayon, naghahanda talaga tayo para kay Bagyong Inday. Pero Inday is also a nickname being called to VP Sara Duterte. Pero yun lang yung pinakasinabi niya. Plus, she was smiling hanggang sa makaalis siya ng Senate premises.
Okay, but what happens next in case she decides to skip it despite the subpoena? What kind of mechanisms can the impeachment court actually enforce kung hindi siya magpakita?
Denise, at exactly 1:10 in the afternoon, the Office of the Vice President confirmed receipt according din sa binigay sa atin na info ng impeachment court ni spokesperson Attorney Reggie Tonggol na na-receive na-issue na nga itong subpoena calling for the showing up of Attorney Zulaika Lopez at dapat no failure ang mangyayari sa pagpapakita niya sa impeachment court ngayong Monday and Tuesday, July 13 and 14. Ang nasabi rin ni Attorney Tonggol, spokes ng impeachment court, it is possible na kung hindi sumunod dito, kasi nga nire-require siya na humarap talaga ngayon, pwede siyang ma-cite for contempt. So that would really depend sa impeachment court kung sakaling hindi siya magpakita sa mga araw na ipinapatawag siya next week. Denise.
Pero Merimon, and by her, I mean by she, I mean Attorney Zulaika Lopez, is it possible that she may ask for a postponement, and under what kind of circumstances kaya posibleng payagan ito if ever?
Denise, ang sabi ni Attorney Tonggol, ito raw pinadalang subpoena, may legal team naman daw si Lopez. So alam nila kung ano yung gagawin and ano yung pwedeng mangyari kung hindi sila magpapakita. Or kung magkakaroon sila ng ibang i-manifest or ilalakad na motion that may affect her attendance in person, yun yung gagawin mismo ng legal team nila. Pero for now, walang confirmation so far from the camp of Attorney Zulaika Lopez nor from the OVP kung magpapakita ba, magpepresenta na ba si Lopez or kung makakasama niya rin si VP Sara next week. Denise.
Okay, sige, balikan na lang muna natin, Mary Mona, no, yung nangyari in the last 3 days. Meron ka ba mga nakausap na senador? Ano-ano yung kanilang mga komento about the first 3 days of the impeachment trial, especially yung, kumbaga, nagiging pace ngayon, ano, dahil 3 araw na, isang testigo pa lang ang nakakausap.
So far, Denise, yung sa pinaka-impeachment court kasi, ang pinaka-nakakausap pa lang natin talaga dito, yung spokes na si Attorney Tonggol. Na sinasabi niya, ngayon kinakapapa raw ng court yung time na ginugugol sa presentation ng documentary evidence ng witnesses, yung examination, throwing of questions, objections, questioning also from the senator judges. Kaya yung 92 days ng trial na lumabas doon sa pre-trial order, there is still this possibility na pwede siyang magalaw. Pero ang sinabi rin ni Atty. Tonggol, may leniency naman din daw si Presiding Officer Senator Chisa Escudero dahil nga iba ang impeachment court compared sa ibang court of law. Hindi raw siya parang tulad lang ng criminal court. Ito raw kasi bukod sa senator judges na huhukom, nanonood din daw ang publiko. Kumbaga court of public opinion, maraming tanong ang nais masagot, maraming nakikinig, maraming umaantabay. Ang nasabi naman ni Senator Ping Lacson at tungkol naman kay Senator Chisa's presiding officer, kumbaga kitang-kita, seasoned siya, na parang bihasa na talagang judge sa isang korte. And pinaka sinasabi naman ng mga senador sa nitong mga lumipas na araw, for example, Senator Bam Aquino, na gamitin daw ng maayos yung oras at yung trial days. Kumbaga, with efficiency, hindi nasasayang, hindi nagkakaroon ng prejudice. Si Senator Alan Peter Cayetano naman nagsabi nun. So, yun pa lang yung nakikita natin so far on the part of the impeachment court. Denise.
And of course, we will be following this as the trial resumes on Monday. But for now, we thank you for your time. Again, that was mobile journalist Merymon Reyes. Now, at the House of Representatives, prosecutors say they are satisfied with how the first 3 days of the impeachment trial have unfolded. And for the details, we have mobile journalist Amy Atienza. Okay, Amy, what is the prosecution's assessment of the trial so far?
Yes, Denise, after 3 days of the impeachment trial against Vice President Sara Duterte, mukhang satisfied naman yung House Prosecution Panel kasama yung kanilang counsel dito nga sa mga naging resulta ng unang 3 araw ng impeachment trial. Nasabi rin dito ni na House Prosecutors Representative Isabel Zamora at Representative Rog Gutierrez na it was a good week for the prosecution. Patuloy naman nilang paalala Denise, na yung pagkapanalo, yung sinasabi nilang victory for this impeachment trial ay too early pa to determine dahil wala naman daw yan sa motions granted, kundi kung makikita na mako-convict nga daw ba si Vice President Sara Duterte, and it will take 89 more days para nga mapagdesisyonan din ng senator judges kung karapat-dapat nga bang i-convict si Vice President Sara Duterte. And after all, meron pa naman ding 89 trial days pa nga at meron pang 3 articles of impeachment at mas marami pang testigo ang makikita natin pagdating dito mismo sa impeachment ni Vice President Sara Duterte.
Kahapon, Amy, hinimay ng defense yung credibilidad at yung experience nitong NBI agent na si John Mark Calilong. Ano naman ang sinabi ng prosecution about the performance of their first witness?
Yes, nasabi dito Denise, na si John Mark Calilong daw ay talagang solid sa kanyang narrative pagdating doon sa line of questioning sa examination at cross-examination ng both the prosecution and the defense. Nasabi din nila na consistent daw talaga yung mga naging naratibo nitong si JM Calilong, lalong-lalo na doon sa proseso ng pagko-conduct nila ng investigation na doon sa video ng press conference ni VP Sara dated November 23, 2024 at nasasabi nga rin dito ni Deputy Speaker Paulo Ortega na talagang malaking tulong yung naging testimonya dito ni JM Calilong pagdating nga sa grave threats and destabilization na ibinigay ni VP Sara laban sa gobyerno.
Okay, Amy, sino-sino yung mga witnesses na naman na aabangan natin are expected to testify pag-resume ng trial next week?
Denise, nung narinig natin yung third day of the trial, ay nag-request nga itong prosecution na isabina mismo isa dyan si Office of the Vice President Chief of Staff Attorney Zulaika Lopez. Pagdating nga doon sa diskusyon or talakayan sa grave threats pa rin yan. Bukod pa dyan ay si Attorney Jeremy Lotok din, isang NBI Regional Director ay makikita din possibly on Monday daw yan parang mas matalakay pa yung investigasyon na ginawa mismo ng National Bureau of Investigation doon mismo sa video ni Vice President Sara Duterte confirming na meron daw siyang na-hire din na assassin para nga ma-assassinate si Pangulong Bongbong Marcos. At syempre, yung isa din dyan ay si Belinda Bello from the House of Representatives for the security measures naman yan. So we are expecting din daw, Denise, no, na mas magiging mahaba yung magiging talakayan, lalo na dahil 3 witnesses na ito and anticipated na 1 witness per day next week ang mangyayari sa impeachment trial.
And speaking of that video, of that press conference of the Vice President, Amy, paano nga ba nag-react itong prosecution dun sa pagpepresenta ng defense ng clips ni Attorney Zulaika Lopez?
Doon din sa sinagawang press conference kanina no, nasabi dito ni Representative Zamora na medyo nakakagulat nga raw na naipresenta yung video clips ni Attorney Zulaika Lopez. Pero ang sinasabi rin naman daw dito ni Deputy Speaker Ortega nga no, ay naging justifiable yung reason kung bakit kinakailangan nilang isubpoena as witness itong si Attorney Lopez pagdating nga sa ikalawang linggo ng impeachment trial ni Vice President Sara Duterte. And more than that, very crucial din na naipakita itong video clips ng defense team dahil this just proves and shows na yung video ng press conference ni Vice President Sara Duterte noong November 23, 2024 ay authentic as similar to what is said by the National Bureau of Investigation.
All right, thank you for that report. Again, that was mobile journalist Amy Atienza. Now, Senator Rodante Marcoleta has been diagnosed with dyslipidemia or high cholesterol following laboratory tests. The PNP General Hospital said Marcoleta is still awaiting the results of a 2D echocardiogram, which will help determine the condition of his heart. The findings will serve as a basis for his medical clearance. The 72-year-old senator was earlier diagnosed with mild pneumonia and a spinal condition. Once his medical evaluation is completed and he is cleared, legal and custodial procedures related to his plunder case may proceed. Marcoleta was arrested on Monday over plunder charges.
Nag-aantay pa po tayo ng mga laboratories, mga further exams pala. Sorry, laboratories meron ng further exams po sa kanya. Kailangan kong antayin lahat para lang po makasiguro ako na walang pwede pong mangyari sa kanya pag nilabas na po natin.
The Lapu-Lapu City Regional Trial Court has granted bail to so-called Queen of Contractors, Sara Diskaya. The court set bail at 1 million pesos in the falsification of public documents case stemming from an alleged ghost project in Davao Occidental. It also granted 300,000 pesos bail to co-accused Sir Ryan Ubungen while denying the bail petitions of 8 others accused. In its July 7 resolution, the court said the prosecution had not presented sufficient evidence at this stage to show that Diskaya conspired with or in the alleged scheme. The presiding judge, however, stressed that the ruling is not an acquittal but gives the government the opportunity to review and strengthen its case. More stories when One Newsfeed returns. Stay tuned. You're still watching One Newsfeed. Welcome back. Typhoon Inday maintains its strength over the east of northern Luzon. For the latest, let's bring in News 5's meteorologist, Alvin Pura. Okay, Alvin, where was Inday's center last spotted at ano-ano nga bang mga lugar yung maapektuhan?
Alright, itong si Bagyong Inday is huling namataan ng pag-asa sa layong 780 kilometers east ng Apari, Cagayan. Kaninang umaga, humina ito into typhoon category. And humina pa yan nung tanghali at ngayon nasa 165 kilometers per hour. Ang lakas ng hangin nito, malapit sa gitna at may mga gustiness o mga bugso na umabot sa 205 kilometers at patuloy na kumikilos pakanluran, hilagang kanluran sa bilis na 20 kilometers per hour. Sa ngayon, hindi pa rin natin inaasahan itong maglandfall o tumama yung kanyang pinakagitna sa anumang bahagi ng ating bansa. Pero medyo malawak to, Ma'am Denise. Yung ating bagyo ay nasa around 1,700 kilometers ang kabuuang diametro. Kaya bukas hanggang Sabado, mararamdaman natin ang malalakas na bugso ng hangin, particularly dito sa Northern Luzon at extreme Northern Luzon, dulot ng panglabas na kaulapan at mga hangin nitong bagyong Inday. Maliban dyan, nagpapatuloy pong magpalakas ng habagat o southwest monsoon itong bagyong Inday. Nararanasan na natin ang mga pag-ulan nitong mga nakarang araw pa. Sa katunayan, may mga pagbaha na tayo sa Mindanao at magpapatuloy pa po yan sa mga susunod na araw. Particularly nung mga past few days, aktibo yung ating habagat sa western section ng Mindanao, western section ng Visayas, including Panay at maging dito sa areas ng Negros. Ngayon sa Mindoro, meron po tayong mga nararanasang malalakas na pag-ulan dyan, dulot ng ating habagat. At habang kumikilos, papalapit dito sa Northern Luzon at sa extreme Northern Luzon ang bagyong Inday, meron din po tayong mararanasang pag-ulan dito sa Metro Manila at mga karating lugar nito bukas hanggang sa darating na weekend. Mabilis.
Okay. Alvin, nakikita natin dito sa ating Wendy app na palabas naman yung track niya, palayo ng Pilipinas. Pero kung pwede mong i-explain sa ating mga viewers, in layman's term, bakit apektado pa rin yung mga yung Visayas, yung Mindanao, kahit na palabas na tong bagyong to?
Yes, Denise, ito nga yung medyo nakakalito eh. Yung pag-ulan kasi natin is nanggagaling sa habagat, hindi sa bagyo. Actually, sa darating na weekend, sa Sabado, pag nakalabas na ng ating area of responsibility, itong bagyong Inday, mas madadagdagan pa yung ating mga pag-ulan dito sa Metro Manila. By Saturday and Sunday, bukas mag-start na tayong makaranas ng mga pabugso-bugsong hangin, maulap na yung panahon natin, pero mas madadagdagan pa yung ating pag-ulan by the time makalabas ng area of responsibility. Itong bagyong Inday. Dahil dun sa inflow ng hangin, dahil nga sa inflow ng hangin na epekto ng ating habagat o southwest monsoon. Hinihila niya kasi papunta sa kanya yung ating habagat. At yung axis ng habagat natin, since umaakyat siya, is umaakyat din. From Visayas and Mindanao, aakyat yan this coming weekend sa Luzon, including Metro Manila.
Okay, doon sa mga nagpaplano ng kanilang pagsasampay, paglalaban, kailan pa nga ba pwedeng makita o maasahan tuloy-tuloy na yung paglabas ng araw and better weather conditions?
Ito rin ang pinagkaiba, Denise, ng habagat at sa mismong bagyo. May mga pagkakataon, yung bagyo kapag dumaan na is mararamdaman natin ang ulan ng 1 hanggang 2 araw, tapos mawawala din, makikita agad natin ang araw. Ang habagat ay nagkakaroon tayo ng tinatawag na prolonged period of rainy days. So from bukas hanggang sa Lunes, possible pa rin po tayong makaranas ng pag-ulan dito sa Metro Manila. Kahit makalayo na itong bagyong si Inday. So yun yung pinagkaiba nila. Humahaba yung rainy days natin compared sa mga bagyo. Nagiging intermittent yan, minsan malalakas. Sa weekend nga, meron tayong inaasang mas maraming pag-ulan. Bababa ng konti. Pero most of the days, for the next 3 to 5 days, meron tayong mga possible rains dito sa Metro Manila. So, medyo mahirap ang maglaba. Mabaho pa yung ating mga nilaban dahil makukulob siya. Pero, gumamit na lang muna tayo ng dryer. Expect natin na mas mahaba yung ating mga araw na may mga pagulan sa mga susunod na
So,
araw.
3 to 5 days, possibly hanggang mga Tuesday pa.
Yes,
Maulan,
Denise.
Tuesday, Wednesday. Okay. Alvin, aside from Inday, meron pa ba tayong binabantayan na ibang weather disturbances na posibleng pumasok sa Philippine Area of Responsibility anytime soon?
Ayun na nga, Denise, gaya ng binanggit natin kanina, magpapatuloy yung epekto ng habagat. Bakit? Dahil aktibo yung ating karagatan dito sa Western Pacific region, kung saan dyan kadalasan nabubuo yung ating mga bagyo. Meron tayong mga grupo ng kaulaban na medyo malayo sa ating area of responsibility, pero may possibility yan magkaroon ng circulation in the next few days, lalong-lalo na sa susunod na linggo. So by the time na makalayo man itong bagyong si Inday, papalit naman yung inflow ng hangin natin papunta doon sa mga sirkulasyon na yun. Kahit hindi pa yan bagyo or low pressure area pa lamang yan, is magiging consistent na makakapekto sa atin yung habagat sa mga susunod na araw. So marami tayong inaasahang pang rainy days sa mga susunod na araw. Although hindi magpa-fluctuate yung lakas niyan, medyo hihina, lalakas. Pero ngayon July, expect na natin ang mas maraming araw na may mga pag-ulan tayo.
Okay, lastly, Alvin, quick reminders lang sa ating mga kapatid, lalo ni mga pumapalaot.
Okay. Ngayon na, pag meron tayong mga bagyo na umabot sa typhoon category or super typhoon category, is nagdudulot yan ng malalaking alon. Sa katunayan, itong nakarang araw pa, is malalaki na yung ating alon dito sa eastern section o yung karagatan dito sa eastern section ng ating bansa. Lalong-lalo na ngayong araw na ito at magpapatuloy pa yan bukas. Kaya doble ingat po tayo eastern section ng Northern Luzon, extreme Northern Luzon, hanggang dito sa Eastern Visayas at nag-extend pa yan dito sa eastern section ng Mindanao. Mga karagatan dito sa may East Philippine Sea, yung mga kapatid natin dyan na nakatira sa malapit sa may bayang dagat, mag-ingat po tayo at yung mga maliliit na sakyang pandagat at wag po muna tayong pumalaot dahil medyo delikado pa at may kataasan yung ating alon.
Alright, we thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us. Again, that was News 5's meteorologist, Alvin Pura. Now, heavy rains have triggered flooding and damage in several areas. In Malaybalay City, Bukidnon, muddy floodwaters turned a road into a raging river. One resident was reported dead after he was allegedly swept away by strong currents while trying to retrieve his animals. Rescuers and residents in Parang Maguindanao del Norte used a rope to cross a flooded road amid fears they could be carried away by the rushing water. In Talayan, Maguindanao del Sur, tricycles and other vehicles braved flooded roads while some residents also waded through the water to cross. Meanwhile, several families in Lebac Sultan Kudarat were rescued and brought to an evacuation center. And in Magsaysay, Occidental Mindoro, strong waves battered the shoreline, nearly sweeping away several boats tied only to small trees. And One Newsfeed will be back after this short break. You're still watching One Newsfeed. The United States has launched a fresh wave of military strikes against Iran, further escalating tensions in the Middle East. The U.S. military says it struck Iran to keep the Strait of Hormuz open after it allegedly attacked 3 cargo ships a day earlier. The strikes hit several areas in southern Iran, while Tehran retaliated with missile and drone attacks on Kuwait and Bahrain, both home to U.S. military bases. Kuwait says it intercepted the incoming projectiles, while Qatar briefly raised its security alert before lifting it. The escalation has cast further doubt on efforts to reach a lasting peace deal, though U.S. President Donald Trump says he does not expect a return to full-scale war. A maritime security analyst warns that claims linking Batanes to China could be part of Beijing's broader lawfare strategy. CELI Director Ray Powell said a recent symposium of Chinese academics appeared to be an attempt to build a new narrative that Batanes is a natural geographical extension of Taiwan and therefore part of China. Powell said the narrative could serve as a pretext to justify Chinese presence or operations near Batanes, even if Beijing has not officially adopted the claim. Meanwhile, Defense Secretary Gilberto Teodoro dismissed the assertion as, quote, ludicrous. Teodoro added that it only strengthens international opposition to China's actions. He also warned that the claim may signal a pre-planned intention by Beijing and reinforces concerns that China seeks to expand its influence across the Pacific.
Sa ating mga kababayan, kung ito ay produkto ng sinasabi nilang mga scholars nila, nakita mo naman kung anong klaseng pag-iisip ang ginagawa ng isang lipunan na kontrolado ng Communist Party of China. So, I view this as once more, probably it's a signaling of a preconceived intention already. Hindi rin malayo na nasa plano nila yan.
Now in sports, Cebu will host the FIBA Women's Asia Cup 2027. This marks the first time the premier continental women's basketball tournament will be held in the Philippines. The 8-day tournament, tentatively scheduled for July 2027, will be staged at the newly opened 25,000-seat SM Seaside Arena. A total of 16 of Asia's top women's national teams, including Gilas Pilipinas Women, are expected to compete. Beyond the Games, Philippine Sports Commission Chairman Patrick Gregorio said the event is also expected to boost local tourism in Cebu.
The biggest tourism events in the world are sports events. Cannot question FIFA, cannot question Olympics, cannot question FIBA. Now FIBA's coming to Cebu. 16 countries, best teams in Asia. The economic benefit of all of these events, it's really very good for our country.
And before we go, an unusual rescue operation in southern China has gone viral after an excavator was used to save pigs stranded in floodwaters. Take a look at this, a real-life claw machine. Video shows an excavator carefully lifting pigs from raging floodwaters in China's Guangxi region using its bucket with claw machine-like precision. Villagers say they rescued the animals after they were swept downstream so they could be returned to their owners. The region has been hit by severe flooding caused by Tropical Storm Maysak, which brought heavy rains, widespread damage, and loss of life. Officials say the storm has killed at least 39 people in in southern China, most of them after a dam breach flooded the city of Nanning. And that wraps up one news feed, the only feed you need. I'm Denise Tan. Good evening.